think there are examples in industry where clients themselves are striving to deliver zero carbon, futuristic buildings, better environments for their staff. There's a lot of metrics out there that illustrate that in actual fact if you create a more well-being environment, the productivity increases. So I think part of it's led by industry itself and companies, but the other side of it has to be the Kyoto Agreement and governments, G7, etc., all targeting a better future, zero carbon future. Because we talk about zero carbon, but it isn't just zero carbon, it's the whole sustainable environment. At the end of the presentation we had a slide up there that the government, UK government's committed to, gender neutral, waste, all kinds of things. It's a holistic subject, but I think it's being driven mainly by government, but there are, nice to know that there are nice clients out there that are also willing to help us. Zero carbon in itself, effectively we're looking at it from a systems point of view, energy consumption point of view. But the bigger side of it is obviously acoustics, air quality, the impact on the environment, community inclusion, etc. So when you set out to design a development, one must always be looking at the broader spectrum and honing that in to what the actual building is doing itself. But at the same time, if we don't consider the surrounding buildings, future developments, then in actual fact there is a gap in that carbon reduction and zero carbon roadmap. It also comes to the end user, the predictions that we have in design. What's the building actually going to be used for? And we've discussed and seen examples in London where maybe residential developments are being built whereby they're only part occupied. So there's all that embodied energy going into that building, and maybe those other apartments are only being used for a matter of weeks, if not months, out of a whole year. Is that sustainable?
Is there a generation coming through that is more interested in the subject?
Definitely, and I think part of the credit has to go to government on this because it's being taught through our schools and it's a subject that we're broadening. So the next generations, as each generation comes, they're more aware, they've got more knowledge and experience of how it impacts them as an individual. They also obviously see the news, and maybe if their parents are in the industry they also see some trade press. But I think this is a growing movement. And I think governments and the global countries are just simply moving in that fashion.
Are we bringing consultants like you into building projects at an early enough stage, I wonder?
I think it is fair to say that we don't get on board as early as we could do, and I think it's also reasonable to say that if we were brought in from concept stage that we could actually add value to the table. There are lots of decisions a client makes in selecting a development, a building, or even if they're going to refurbish a building they own or move location from one building to another. The sustainable agenda is holistic. It captures transport, ecology, the air we breathe, the whole lot. So it's very simple for us, I shouldn't say simple, it's very easy for us to get involved at an early stage and inform on site selection, even on mass inform and using building physics for energy, etc. But we can form on a wider scope of sustainability and environmental inclusion from day one. And those benefits can be taken by the client in decision making. So yes, we should be brought on board there.
And what are the benefits of going zero carbon?
Well, okay, I think that's simply just to say saving the planet would probably be my answer to that. The future generations, my daughter, her children, and her children's children, this is not, it's great living in a world and taking what you want, but it's the future we need to think about. We're only here as a byproduct of our ancestors, and we need to leave something behind, and that's the important message, I think.